The economic challenges which Bangladesh is facing now has nothing to do with the economic or political changes which we have recently. As you may know that the interim government which came to power after the People's Students' Uprising on 5th of August 2024 inherited a economy which had both structural problem and also management related issues. So after it came into power, it wanted to understand what type of economy it has inherited. And that's why they created a white paper, 12-member eminent economists together, and I have the privilege of chairing that. And that document shows that the development narrative, which possibly you were also referring to, was a bit of a overhyped thing. And it was based on cooked up data. GDP growth rate, which was said, it was at least less by 3%, if not more. GDP data was not correct. It was inflated. As a result, all other indicators, whether it's investment, whether it's employment, whether it is external flow of finance or debt, foreign debt, all these figures were also very much incorrect. So we have inherited an economy which not only is based on a false development narrative, but also number of major problems in different sectors. These sectors include, of course, the low domestic resource mobilization tax collection. There was growth but no tax collection. There was private investment was also stagnating as a percentage of GDP, 23%. And there was growth, there was no private investment. And then there was, of course, low employment, particularly employment in the formal sector. And that really made the students so unhappy because of the lack of jobs. And on the other hand, the health and education part investment was very low on the part of the government, and social protection as well, because most of the money went for what we call visible indicators of progress, building satellite, nuclear power plant, tunnel under the water, high-flying expressway, all these things which took away most of the money from health, education and social protection. So inequality increased quite a lot. So as you can understand, the economy which has been inherited by this government a couple of months back has a lot of problems in many ways. And so one of the major challenge now is to undertake reforms. And the reform is the name of the game now. The reforms in terms of tax collection, reforms in the banking sector, because a lot of unpaid loan there, non-performing loans, reforms in the energy sector, because there are also high valued projects which are not being used at all but being paid from the government exchequer. Also reforms in the digital sector, reform for the social protection database. So a huge number of reform agenda is currently in the economic area which is being faced by the government.
बाजुपन सम्बन्धी कुनै पनि समस्या समाधानका लागि सम्झनुहोस् हार्दिक IVF and Fertility Center, Sinamangal, Kathmandu.
One of the major recommendation is that the government needs to stabilize the economy very fast. The inflation is still very high. On the other hand, the exchange rate has stabilized, but the prices in the market did not stabilize as yet. Although the government is pursuing a contractionary policy, interest rate is going up, but the market is yet to respond. So this is one major area. The other area, and for that market stabilization, what is also important, the supply side issues, so that the production are right. The harvest, the major rice harvest production season is coming up, so that the almond production is good, so the food security is ensured. And at the same time, the imports of goods are there. The month of fasting, Ramadan, is coming, and it is very important, socially important, to have the market stabilized by that time. So market stabilization is one of the major objectives. The second one, as I mentioned earlier, the reform, institutional reforms, starting from the Bangladesh Bank, the central bank, to the various commercial banks, collection of unpaid loans, But at the same time, there are many banks which are really bankrupt to do what to do with them, and there are ownership problems. And at the same time, there is liquidity shortfall for the private investment. So the banking sector, the reform issues is very, very critical one. And at the same time, like the energy, where we have more than 20,000 megawatt installed capacity, but we don't use even half of them because of lack of resources for import of fuel and other things. And so the energy sector is also very much out there. I can mention number of areas, but the reform is the second most important part. The third issue is that to have a medium-term outlook. The medium-term outlook, although this government has come for a short period of time, it's not a political government, but yet there is an expectation for a medium-term outlook, because you cannot do investment based on only 1 month or 2 months outlook. So to have a 2 to 3 years plan, and that plan is so much necessary because during this period, Bangladesh is going to graduate from the LDC group, just like Nepal. They're almost at the same time. So what should be the strategy in terms of smooth transition? That is also an important thing. Bangladesh has prepared a draft. It is important to operationalize those issues. And last but not the least, there are foreign interlocutors, the foreign development finance providers. There are foreign markets which provide duty-free, quota-free market access. There are foreign direct investors. And also, as you know, Bangladesh sends a lot of people abroad for remittance earners. So those markets are also necessary. So one of the recommendations from our part is to have a good understanding with these foreign interlocutors and to have a development discourse with them. Our foreign reserve depleted so sharply from $40+ billion to less than $20 billion, almost half. And the exchange rate also deteriorated for that matter. So it was very important to stabilize the foreign exchange circumstances. And one of the reason also is that we are having shortfall in terms of financing all our imports, and there is a lot of unpaid import bills out there. So it is important to have a good flow of foreign exchange support. And so Bangladesh went for balance of payment support to IMF for quite some time now, 2 years. And we are looking for supplementary for balance of payment support. And at the same time, we are looking for your budgetary support from World Bank and Asian Development Bank. So both types of supports are at this moment necessary as a part of the stabilization policies. But we also recognize that the debt burden for Bangladesh is increasing. It's not because of the IMF loan or the World Bank loan, but there are other loans which are costlier loans which we have brought in. And since Bangladesh has become a low middle income country, access to concessional finance has fallen significantly. So in the coming days, debt management will be a serious problem for Bangladesh. It is not $1 billion. It was something around 700 or 800 million. And we have paid back some of the loans by now. And as our foreign exchange situation is improving, we will be also liquidating those loans. But at the same time, we must remember the treaty of buying the Indian power coming especially from the Adani established companies is under scrutiny now. The government is looking at the treaty under which the purchase was agreed, whether there was a balanced conditionality on both sides or not. That is also under the scrutiny. On the one hand, we are paying back gradually, and we will be liquidating it very soon. And at the same time, we are looking into the treaties, including the Adani treaty, whether it was a balanced and a correct one on that. But at the same time, we have also reduced purchase of power from the Adani plants because the winter is here. So at this moment, the pressure is low in terms of energy consumption. Relationship with India and Bangladesh is not very good at this moment, not at their best. And we all recognize on both sides. The beginning of the problem is that India has invested very hugely in favor of now the who is now the former Prime Minister, who has fled the country. And as a result, they possibly have problem in accepting the political change which has taken place in Bangladesh. So that is the basic thing, that the Indian high-ups are yet to recognize the new realities in Bangladesh. But having said that, there had been discussions, and India is also very worried about the state of the minorities within Bangladesh, which is there may be security issues or sense of insecurity among the minorities or any other vulnerable communities, but not necessarily in the way the Indian media is projecting it. Indian media projecting it in a very extreme way, which incidentally is not helping the minorities within the country. Regarding the state of vulnerability of the Hindu minorities are bit on the exaggeration in many ways, and there are also fake news. But this is not to say that the Hindus in Bangladesh feels fully secured in many ways. So we will have to see how this thing can be managed within the country without external interference in these cases. This is one point. But the major problem with India is that India is providing hospitality to a leader who has ruled Bangladesh for 15 years in an authoritarian way and has fled the country in the face of the people's uprising. And she is saying things, sitting over there, abusing the hospitality and things, meddling in the internal matters of Bangladesh. So the point with India had been, if you want to give hospitality, extend hospitality to one of our former Prime Minister, that's fine, but she has to keep shut. She cannot do politics sitting there abusing the hospitalities of the Indian government. That is a major issue what we have at this moment. If you look at the relationship with the government since August, Mr. Narendra Modi made a call to Professor Yunus in end August, if not early September, for him to speak at the South-South conference in Delhi. And Professor Yunus readily took the invitation and virtually participated that, which essentially demonstrated the goodwill of the current government in Dhaka towards having a good relationship with India. Unfortunately, since then, situation did not improve. The government, our foreign advisor did have a talk with Mr. Jaishankar in New York. I have been there around, and during that time some discussion took place, and also we agreed that the foreign office level consultation will happen. Just last week the Indian Foreign Secretary visited Dhaka, and that was very, very helpful. And as you can see, one of the outcome of that, after he went back, he gave the statement. What is being said by our former Prime Minister sitting in India is not necessarily the words or the Indian government does not empathize with it in that way. That's also a progress. So we see in the coming days, the official interaction between the two governments should increase, and we should regularize our trade relationship, our connectivity relationship, and also people-to-people relationship, the visa processes as well. So we look forward to a much more improved relationship and a new level with the Indian government. Bangladesh is very keen to revive SAARC. I can tell you during the last General Assembly meeting in September in New York, our head of the interim government, Professor Yunus, wanted to have a SAARC level head of the government meeting, which did not happen. Then we wanted to have a meeting of the foreign minister. Unfortunately, that did not also happen. Finally, we wanted to have a meeting of the ambassadors of South Asia, the SAARC countries. Some countries also didn't feel comfortable with that. So it did not. From our part, Bangladesh remains very much committed to the SAARC issue. And so about the future of SAARC, you understand you have to ask some other country, not us, and that. So, but at the same time, Bangladesh is a very open and globalized economy. And so it will look partnership across the world in that way. So it is within the SAARC. If it's possible, not for the whole SAARC, we will seek partnership with Nepal, with Bhutan. And as we are doing it now, we are purchasing power from Nepal, the 40 megawatt which has come through finally through the the transit through India.
Yeah.
We are waiting to do the same with Bhutan. And more importantly, we will like to see the sub-regional cooperation with Bhutan and Nepal and northeast of India when our Matarbari deep sea port opens up, and this will give a totally new lifeline to sub-regional cooperation in this area. Bangladesh seeks cooperation further east. And so the ASEAN is one of the possibilities. It is a growing economy. Many of our people are working there in many of the countries in that region, Malaysia in particular, Singapore as well. On the other hand, we also seek partnership with the Middle Eastern countries because most of our remittance earning people are also over there. United States, US, European Union are our big markets for exports. So Bangladesh at the end of the day is a very, very globalizing country in many ways. And so ASEAN is just only part of that. First of all, we want SAARC to function. Again, we want SAARC to function. But even if SAARC was functioning, Bangladesh should have looked for other opportunities because where would its exports will go? All its garments exports will go to Europe, US, and to some of the countries in Japan, Australia over there. So we'll be looking for relationship over there. Where will our people go for earning foreign exchanges, just like Nepal? So they will go to Middle East in many ways. So we will seek relationship with Middle East. So it is not an either-or situation. It is just another complement in the package of a relationship which Bangladesh wants to pursue. Nepal-Bangladesh relationship has to be a multifaceted relationship. Exactly. It has to be based to start with on connectivity. The connectivity approaching Nepal through land route is very important for Bangladesh and for Nepal. Yes. So all the trucks which will be coming from Nepal to the ports in Bangladesh to pick up to send things for export, those trucks should be able to take goods and go back to Nepal. They shouldn't go back empty. Yeah. So the connectivity issue is very critical. We do need this connectivity not only through road, but also through railways and others. Yeah. And it is not only Nepal, we also seek similar connectivity with Bhutan. We seek similar connectivity with Northeast. India has got the Northeast connectivity through Bangladesh, but Bangladesh never got the connectivity to India, to Nepal and Bhutan as they got it. That is one of our major concerns. Once we get the connectivity right, it will be easier for us to improve our trade relationship and also investment relationship. Trade, investment, finance will be critical on that. Yes. And when we talk about connectivity, we mean multimodal transport system, not only transport on land, but also digital connectivity, financial connectivity, using our credit cards and other things over there. One of the major area where some progress has been made, that is the energy exports from Nepal to Bangladesh. Yes. We hope the amount will increase in the future because this is what you call the green energy in many ways, and we want that to improve, and we are looking for similar opportunities of importing from Bhutan. And the role of India is very critical over here because it is the intermediate country in between, the transit country. So we also seek support and collaboration in terms of the transmission and the sustained flow in this case. The other cooperation which is currently going on, we are hosting number of Nepali students in Bangladesh in various medical institutions and agriculture university and elsewhere. I think this is one of the important area to build new relationship with our youth community. I sit in the UN Committee for Development Policy, which decides on the graduation, who graduates and who doesn't. So I have a special interest both as a person from the region, but also as a global interlocutor in this case. So both the countries will be graduating. Along with that, we are expecting Laos to graduate from the region, from Asia. And most of the countries have the similar problems, challenges. It relates to diversification of the economy, dealing with the shock which may come out because of the loss of the market access in the duty-free market access in developed countries. And it may also lead to fall in concessional finance. So how it will be filling up the gap with the foreign direct investment will be an important thing. And so we see the challenges are very similar in both those two countries. And the countries have also prepared their smooth transition strategy. Nepal, for example, has integrated it with its midterm plan, and Nepalese Planning Commission is doing a fantastic job in this case. Bangladesh has prepared a document. We are deciding who exactly will be in charge of implementing it. So in the coming days, Bangladesh and Nepal should be together in working out what are the additional advantages it can get from the global community once it graduates. One is continuation of the market access, but also there are other areas where it can get joint, privileges like getting the concessional finance, access to concessional finance. Also in terms of getting some flexibility with intellectual property right compliance. So all these things are very much will be there, which Nepal and Bangladesh and along with other countries like Laos can take up together in the global platform. And also as it implements their transition strategy, whatever lesson is coming out, there should be a platform for them to exchange their views and experience.